Have you ever stopped to think about what keeps our world from flying apart? We live our lives oblivious to the fact that we're standing on a rock that's hurtling through space, spinning at roughly 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. It's a constant, silent dance that dictates everything from our days and nights to our weather patterns. But what if in a single, terrifying instant, that dance just stopped? What if the Earth suddenly ground to a halt? The results, my friends, would be nothing short of a cosmic cataclysm. We're not talking about a gentle pause. We're talking about a planet-wide disaster of biblical proportions. A scenario that would make Hollywood's most epic disaster movies look like a day at the park. Let's dive into the terrifying realities of a world without a spin and see if humanity could possibly hold on. Let's start with the most immediate and perhaps most terrifying effect. A sudden stop would mean everything on the surface. The atmosphere, the oceans, you, me, and every building would keep moving at the same speed the Earth was spinning. Imagine you're in a car going 1,000 miles an hour and it slams into a brick wall. The car stops, but you don't. You keep going, hurtling forward. That's exactly what would happen to our planet. The atmosphere, still moving at Mach 1.3, would become a supersonic global windstorm, scouring the surface of the Earth. Buildings would be torn from their foundations, trees would be uprooted, and all life on the surface would be vaporized. This isn't a breeze, it's a lethal hammer blow. The oceans, meanwhile, would surge forward in a mega tsunami of unimaginable scale, several miles high, sweeping over entire continents. Think of the Indian Ocean tsunami, but magnified by a factor of thousands. It would be a wall of water traveling at an incredible speed, consuming coastlines and pushing inland for miles. This initial event alone would be enough to wipe out most, if not all, life on the surface. So the first challenge to humanity isn't adapting, it's surviving the first few seconds. But let's assume for a moment that some of us are lucky enough to be deep underground, shielded from this initial apocalyptic event. What comes next? The world is about to get a whole lot weirder. Our spinning planet isn't a perfect sphere. The centrifugal force from the spin causes a slight bulge around the equator, making the Earth wider there than it is from pole to pole. This bulge is why Mount Everest isn't the point closest to space. It's Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador, thanks to that extra equatorial girth. When the Earth stops spinning, this force disappears. Gravity would take over, and the water from the equatorial bulge would rush towards the poles, pulled by the Earth's gravity. The result? A massive global redistribution of water. The two new oceans would form around the North and South poles, while a new supercontinent would emerge around the equator, a massive dry landmass where the oceans used to be. The current continents, like North America, would be partly underwater, their northern regions submerged, and their southern regions, once tropical coastlines, would become vast, dry deserts. This isn't just a fun fact, it's a fundamental change to the planet's geography. Imagine the global shipping industry, the coastal cities, all gone. A world of new alien geography would emerge from the chaos, a stark barren landscape, where our familiar maps would be useless. But what about the things that aren't visible on a map? What about the very fabric of our world? The Earth's magnetic field is our planet's invisible shield, a force field generated by the convection of molten iron in our outer core. This process, a geodynamo, is powered by the Earth's rotation. It's what protects us from harmful solar radiation and cosmic rays. And it's what makes the northern and southern lights possible. The instant the Earth stops spinning, this dynamo would grind to a halt. The magnetic field would quickly fade away, leaving our planet defenseless. The solar wind, a constant stream of charged particles from the sun, would then bombard the surface. This radiation would be lethal to life as we know it, frying our electronics, causing widespread cancer, and essentially sterilizing the surface of the planet. For centuries, sailors have navigated using the magnetic north. Now that compass would be completely useless. The beautiful aurora would disappear forever, replaced by a constant invisible rain of deadly radiation. How would a world without a shield fare? Right now the Earth spins, giving us a relatively balanced cycle of day and night. A sudden stop would mean one half of the Earth is in perpetual sunlight, while the other is in eternal darkness. The day side would bake under the sun, reaching incredible temperatures, causing the oceans to boil and all moisture to evaporate. The night side would freeze solid, with temperatures dropping to hundreds of degrees below zero, turning everything into a cryogenic wasteland. Life as we know it, which evolved to exist in a specific temperature range, couldn't survive on either side. A narrow twilight zone or terminator line between the two hemispheres might be the only habitable strip of land. But even this would be a hostile, turbulent environment, with winds constantly trying to balance the immense temperature difference. So, not only would we have to survive the initial impact, but we'd also have to find refuge in a narrow, perpetually shifting band of habitability, a thin ribbon of twilight on a planet of extreme infernos and frozen wastelands. It sounds like a truly impossible task. We talked about the immediate windstorm, but what about the long-term effects on our atmosphere? Without a magnetic field, the solar wind would start stripping away our atmosphere, particle by particle. This is what happened to Mars. Its magnetic field died out billions of years ago, and now its atmosphere is a mere whisper compared to Earth's. Over time, the air we breathe, the very gases that make life possible, would slowly but surely be eroded away, leaking into the vacuum of space. While this isn't an instantaneous effect, it's a terrifyingly final one. Even if humanity somehow survived the initial cataclysm and the new geography, we would be living on borrowed time, watching our life-giving atmosphere slowly bleed away. It's a slow, silent death for the entire planet. But let's rewind and think about something else for a moment. What about our calendar? Our day is defined by the Earth's rotation. Without it, a day would become the length of a year, the time it takes for the Earth to orbit the Sun. One side of the planet would face the Sun for 6 months, followed by 6 months of darkness. This would completely destroy our concept of time. The familiar cycle of seasons would be replaced by an extreme binary cycle of perpetual day and perpetual night, with all the catastrophic temperature swings that come with it. The human mind, so dependent on rhythm and cycle, would struggle to adapt. The seasons, which dictate farming and migration, would be gone forever. This isn't just a change to our clocks, it's a change to our very biological rhythm. Our internal body clocks, or circadian rhythms, are tied to the 24-hour day-night cycle. A 365-day day would have profound and likely fatal effects on our biology, creating a world where sleep patterns are non-existent and our bodies are in a constant state of turmoil. It's a fundamental change to our existence. Now here's a crucial misconception. A sudden stop of rotation doesn't mean the Earth also stops its orbit around the Sun. The Earth would still be traveling at 67,000 miles per hour in its solar orbit. It's like a spinning top that stops spinning, but keeps moving in a straight line. The axis, however, would still be tilted. This tilt is what causes our seasons, and on a non-spinning Earth, it would be responsible for the 6 months of light and 6 months of darkness on each hemisphere, as we discussed. But even without the seasons, this tilt would mean that different parts of the planet would be getting direct sunlight at different times of the year, leading to a constant, extreme and unbearable cycle of heat and cold. It's a world where the laws of physics aren't broken, but their effects are amplified to a lethal degree. This isn't just a science fiction thought experiment. It's a terrifying look at how fragile our existence really is, and how much we depend on the simple, constant motion of our planet. So, after all this, the question remains, could humanity survive? The immediate answer is a resounding no. The initial cataclysmic events, the supersonic winds and the mega tsunamis, would wipe out most of the surface population. For the few who might survive deep underground, the challenges would only just begin. They would emerge to a planet where the magnetic field is gone, the atmosphere is being stripped away, the oceans are in new places, and half the world is a frozen wasteland. The most likely scenario is that a handful of survivors might last for a generation or two in a small, self-contained bunker, but without a habitable surface. The end would be inevitable. The only sliver of hope, a desperate one, would be for humanity to become a deep space species, finding a new, habitable planet before our home becomes a lifeless, irradiated rock. But this isn't a simple task. It would require a monumental global effort of a kind we've never seen. So is there hope? Not here. If you found this terrifying trip to a world without spin as fascinating as we did, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the strange and wonderful facts of our universe. And tell us in the comments, what was the single most shocking fact you learned about a non-spinning Earth? From supersonic winds and global mega tsunamis, to a disappearing magnetic shield and the death of our atmosphere, the truth is that our planet's constant, unnoticed spin is the very foundation of our existence. Without it, our world is rendered unrecognizable, a place of lethal extremes where life as we know it couldn't possibly survive. We take so much for granted, but as this thought experiment shows, even the smallest constants, like the gentle hum of our planet's rotation, are crucial to our survival. So the next time you look at the sunset or feel a cool breeze, remember what's really going on beneath your feet. What other simple, mundane thing could be holding our world together?